Hey everyone, I'm Matt Suess, and today we're going to take a look at the history panel inside of Aurora HDR 2018. And in particular, I'm going to show you how to use the history panel to experiment with a couple different editing looks, all without losing your place with your original edited photo. This is a perfect technique where if you've already finished your photo and you're kind of happy with it but want to experiment with a couple other looks just to make sure, using the history panel will make that very easy for you. So let's get started. Now I just opened up this bracketed photo inside of Aurora HDR and I haven't done anything yet, so obviously I have nothing in my history. Let's go ahead and make some adjustments right away. I'm going to go into the transform tool and I'm going to slightly rotate this a little bit. And then I'm also going to increase the scale, zoom in just a little as well. I'll go under the lens correction and I'm going to correct the distortion ever so slightly. And then I'm going to click done, and then what I'm going to do is grab a preset, and I have a preset of mine that I saved, and I'm just going to add that preset to the photo. Now that I've made some adjustments, I can click on my history panel and see everything I did, including the actual numbers that I used to adjust the sliders. And I can click on any one of these and go back in time all the way to the original photo. This history panel is perfect for bringing you back to an earlier edited state in your photo. I'm going to go back to where I added that preset, and then what I'm going to do here is go up under File, and I'm going to click on Save. Now when you save this in a proprietary .mp-aur2 file format, you have the option down here of including the history in the document. If you include the history in the document, all those steps that I just showed you in the history panel will be saved, and you can close this file and then reopen it, and you'd have all of those steps saved inside of your document. Now I do want to mention that saving the history is only available on the Mac computer right now. It is not available on Windows, but that will be coming soon in a future update. So I'm going to rename this file and call it Empty Bottles. And then when I click on Save, it's going to save the history in this document in an MP-AUR2 file format. Now that I've saved this photo, I'm pretty happy with the way it looks, but I do want to experiment a little bit and maybe see what it looks like in a black and white version. So what I'm going to do here, here's a pro tip. I'm going to go ahead here and under the layers, I'm going to click on Add a New Adjustment Layer, and then I'm going to remove it right away. Now what that did in my history is it gave me a nice little visual so that when I have a whole stack of items here in my history, I can just scroll down and look for where I deleted that layer, and then I know that I was going on and doing a little bit more experimenting on a photo. So it just gives you a little quick reference inside of the history panel. And you'll see that once I start doing some adjustments. So let's do some adjustments here. One of my favorite things for going into a black and white is to use the HSL filter. So I'm just going to remove the saturation in all my colors. And then let's adjust the luminance in a couple colors. I'll bring my red down to around -28, and I'm going to increase the yellow, and let's lower the green. Okay, that's given me a nice, decent black and white photo. Let's take a look at the history. And now we can see here's all those adjustments that I made in my history in the HSL filter. And I can easily scroll down and then find where that layer 1 was deleted. And if I click on that, that brings me back to right when I started making those black and white adjustments. So I can go through here in the history and just see what the difference was by switching this to black and white. Now again, I'm experimenting here because I kind of like the photo the way it looked before in color, but I'm checking it out to see how it looks in black and white. So what I'm going to do here now is I could go ahead and click on File and Save. And what that will do is it'll overwrite the file and then it'll include the history that I've done now with the black and white. But here's another pro tip for you. If I go to File and Move To, then I'm able to actually save it as a whole nother version. And so I'll call this Empty Bottles BW for black and white. And I'll make sure that my history is saved to the document as well. And so then I'm going to end up having two .mp-aur2 files. I'll have one that has my color photo with the history intact, and then I'll have the black and white version that has the full history intact too. And then in the future, if I decide that I like one of these versions better than the other, I can just delete one of those MP-aur2 files. So I'll click on Save, and then that will save this black and white version. Let's do one more experiment. Let's go back in history, and let's go back to that deleted layer. You can see that very easily inside my history panel. And let's try doing something else. Let's maybe grunge this up a little bit, and so let's add a little bit of structure and detail. Here's my HDR details boost. Let's increase this a little bit, give it some really nice detail. And let's also go up to the structure, and we'll add some microstructure and overall detail. And then I'll go down to the vignette and add just a little bit of a vignette to it too. So let's see what this experiment did. Let's go back in history to before I added those adjustments and to after. Now at this point, if I decide that I like this new version with all the detail, I can go up here under File, and what I'd want to do is click on Move To again, because I don't want to click on File Save because it'll rewrite the black and white version, and I'll just rename this one Structure. I'll double check that my history is saved into the document, and I'll click on Save, and then I'll have 3 versions of my photo. So that's all the time we have for today. Don't forget to use that history panel, and especially when experimenting with different looks and seeing if you want to go in a different direction with your photo. Once again, I am Matt Suess, and I will talk to you soon.